Hello everybody, welcome back to 2 Minute Warning. My name is Gabe Peraino. Alongside the table here is Jack Stager. We got a lot to talk about today. We got the Super Bowl with Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes, and then we got a little bit of Lions news here with the Matt Stafford trade to the Los Angeles Rams. So Jack, let's get right into it.
Yeah, sounds great, Gabe. Let's get right into it. Before we start off with Super Bowl news and Matthew Stafford news, I just want to acknowledge the fact that there's breaking news today, and college football fans rejoice as EA Sports is returning and bringing back college football NCAA, the video game, basically the version of Madden for college football. So players and fans rejoice around the country as college football returns since 2014. Which Michigan player was on that cover. So very good news for football fans across the country, and I'm really excited to see where this EA Sports takes it, and it's going to be really good. So you want to jump right into the Matthew Stafford trade?
Yeah, that's probably the best news I've gotten in a long time. The Lions, they had a lot of teams come after Stafford, but we realized that Stafford did not want to be traded to the New England Patriots, which is kind of a surprise alarm to me. But anyway, he got traded to the Los Angeles Rams. The Lions got 2 future first-round draft picks and a 2021 third-round draft pick and quarterback Jared Goff. Jack, I know you're very passionate about this trade result, so I'll let you take the first opinion.
Yeah. First of all, before any speculation or any comments get made, I'd just like to say I'm very happy for Matthew Stafford. This is very good for him as a player. He gets to go, and for him as a family man as well. He gets to take his family down to LA. I know his wife's probably going to love that for sure. She loves, being in the spotlight and having all the drama on her. So the family will get to be in LA. It's good for his daughters. But more importantly, I think it's good for him as a player. He's going to have a top 3 defense in the league on the other side of the football, and he's going to have a solid receiving core with a young running back in Cam Akers coming up. So I think if the Los Angeles Rams can make some good moves here and get a better offensive line, then I think this is going to be great for Matthew Stafford. But automatically, him going into this, that makes them automatic playoff contenders. So I'm very happy for Stafford. Now, moving on to the Detroit side of it, I'm sure you all know I'm very passionate in drafting a quarterback this year, such as Justin Fields.
Tell me about it.
But I just think that the mindset of the Lions right now should be getting a young quarterback. And yes, I know Jared Goff is young. I believe he's 26. But even still, I'm not too optimistic about Jared Goff, given his previous stats the past few years. This year he battled with injuries, and I believe he threw 20 touchdowns and 13 interceptions and QBR of 80, if I'm not mistaken. So not the worst stat line, but it could be better. It's a solid trade. Don't get me wrong. I'm very happy about these first-round picks that we have. However, knowing the Lions, I will not be happy if they take Jeff Okudah-like player again with these first-round picks. They have to be smart, and I hope that General Manager Mr. Glenn can do something to change this, and Dan Campbell has a better voice than maybe Patricia had in the previous draft picks. But basically, for me, the final thing I'll say about this, and I'll let you have your opinion, but the final thing I'll say about this, it all comes down to these draft picks. If they pick, because Jared Goff could just be this, 2-year quarterback, 1-year quarterback, and then they trade him away. And if that's the case, then the trade's perfect, in my opinion. But if they're relying on Jared Goff to be our franchise quarterback, then I think it's going to be a disappointment of a trade. So it all comes down to these picks. If the front office can make great moves with these picks and we get what we need instead of, a corner, then I think it's going to be great and it's a perfect trade. But all in all, it just comes down to how these trade picks work out and how the general manager, Glenn, and how our front office takes these picks and puts it into the future of the organization.
Yeah, I'm going to start from the beginning, sort of like you. First and foremost, I really don't have any beef about Matthew Stafford at all. I think he's a great player. He's a great quarterback. He's a great family man, and he deserves a chance to win. And with this trade to the Los Angeles Rams, I think it really sets the stage for a bunch of potential for Matthew Stafford to really make a run in the playoffs. He's got a great defense with Aaron Donald and a bunch of Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
And then he's got a great wide receiving core with Cooper Kupp in there. He's one of my favorite wide receivers. I think he should be talked about more, but
For sure.
I'm getting a little off topic about it. But Matthew Stafford is really in a great position, and I think both teams won in this case, and I think the Lions, they got the most for him, in my opinion. And with these future picks, hopefully, I've given chance after chance with the Lions, with new coaching and new GMs and maybe new coordinators, and I always give them a chance. I never bash out about them right when they get hired. I always give them a chance. I don't criticize them for what they do right at the beginning, who they pick or whatever. But after maybe a season or two, then that's when you need to start saying, okay, is this guy the good deal for us? But with these picks, I think it really helps to set up the future. I think it's going to be really interesting with Detroit having a top 10 pick in the draft. If they're going to end up picking a quarterback, or they might end up picking somebody on defense. I think any position helps, maybe except a cornerback. But time will tell. And I think I saw a mock draft earlier today about the Lions maybe going after Jaden Waddle, from Alabama, who is a top wide receiver there. And I don't know if I agree with that. I think there's bigger positions that need to be filled. But I think with Dan Campbell and our new GM, with him especially having an earlier connection with Jared Goff, it's going to be kind of interesting to see whether the Lions are going to roll with Jared Goff, who he was a 2016 first-round pick to the Rams. I think a lot of people expected more out of him, and the last few years he's just been going downhill slightly. His QBR ratings have been going down the drain a little bit, and hopefully here in Detroit, this is the perfect time frame for him to reach his true potential, to be the quarterback that the Rams drafted and traded for him to be. So, my final thoughts are just hopefully this new team that's assembling in Detroit with new coaches, a new GM, a new play style, a new quarterback, and maybe even a new wide receiver or a new standout defensive player that they get from the draft. Hopefully, with all these decisions that they make, they'll make some sort of progression in the near future.
Yeah, you put it pretty good there. Not much to argue with on that point. I agree with you how it's looking good for the Lions as of current right now. But like I said, it comes down to what they do with these picks, and I'm not sure if I agree with the Jalen Waddle pick. I've seen his highlights. He's a good football player for sure, no doubt. But I just think there's better guys, to be honest with you.
I totally agree with you.
I think a receiver right now isn't really what we need, especially a first-round receiver. I'd understand come second round, third round receiver, maybe try to get a sleeper pick, or maybe almost a dark horse wide receiver that kind of fell in the draft a little bit that you can pick up and build into a superstar. Because I still do have trust in Kenny Golladay and Marvin Jones for sure. You have to realize that they were both hurt this year, and they're going to come back healthy next year. However, I do know that Marvin Jones Jr. his contract has expired, so I believe he's now a free agent. if I'm not mistaken. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. But if he can stay with the Lions, I think Jared Goff has a solid receiving core. I'm not all for the Jared Goff buy-in. However, I guess as a hurt and broken Lions fan, I can, I hope that he's successful. And I put my trust in Dan Campbell right now. You can talk all the talk that you want in the press conference, but it's going to come down to who wins those games when it comes game time. And, what happens when Saturday rolls around at 1 o'clock. And if you can cash in those touchdowns and get wins and your defense plays okay, which I think we should be focused on defense a little more because our defense is horrendous, especially in the second half when we're up by 14 points or 10 points with a chance to put the game away in the third quarter. But I think that defense needs to be more of a focus right now. So, I'll say it again. It all comes down to what they do with these draft picks.
Yeah, and speaking of the draft picks, I think this first pick in this year's draft is going to determine where the Lions are going to go with Jared Goff. Is this the guy that you're going to roll with? Is this the guy that you're going to carry your new offensive plans with? Is this the guy that the GM puts full trust in? Or is he going to be the 1 year, 2 year bridge to the next hopeful franchise quarterback that we got out of Matthew Stafford? Obviously, with the chance of doing greater things than Matthew. No offense to Matthew Stafford. He's had horrible teams all over the years. But if it wouldn't be a sad thing if we saw a defensive player get drafted in the first round. We need all the defensive players that we can get. We probably have one of the worst defenses in the whole league. There's no pass rushing whatsoever. Looks like the quarterback has 10 seconds to throw the ball before he even thinks about escaping the pocket. And it's iffy if they draft a quarterback because then they're going to be going with trade suggestions for Jared Goff, and it's going to hopefully, maybe if we go in that direction, open more draft picks in our pockets. And I think everything comes down to draft picking, and hopefully the Lions will make a good decision. I'd be happy to either see a quarterback, somebody that's young, that we can put faith in, and maybe go with Jared Goff and go with a little trade exploration, or we get a defensive player, not a cornerback, but maybe like a lineman or on the defensive line, somebody in that area of the field, somewhere, some player that can make a big impact in the game instantly. We don't need a cornerback. The cornerback that we got in Jeff Okudah, he's going to be out the league in 3 years, I'm calling it. But there's no cornerback that's going to change this team, and we saw it happen with Jeff Okudah, who's now supposedly, according to people I see online, going to be a top 5 cornerback in the league in the years to come. So all those people that talk about that, you got a lot to learn. Jack, I'm not going to go in that direction, so you can give your final thoughts.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that statement, quite honestly. I don't think you should rule anybody out of the league after their first season. I think, however, this season, though, for Jeff Okudah is to rise above or bust again. And if he busts again, you could make the argument that he won't be in the league in 3 years, but I don't think he'll be a Lion in 3 years if he has another bad season like so. However, sophomore years are breakout years for a lot of players. Jeff Okudah, I believe this year was still transitioning from his from his college body to now his pro body. I think if he puts on a little more muscle and speed, that he can battle deep with players like bigger players like A.J. Brown or D.K. Metcalf with the young receiving core that we have in this NFL league. I think he'll be a better fit as a corner, but as of right now, changes need to be made. And the final thing I'll say for the Lions trade, and before we move on to the big game, the Super Bowl, is just be smart. That's all you gotta do. You've had chances and chances and chances to be smart with these beautiful, just like given teams that would do anything to have the position that you're in, and you just make dumb choices. And for me, just be smart with it. We got a lot of new changes in the front office. I think changes can be made to our bad decision making in the past. So just be smart with the picks. I'd also be opening up to trading Jared Goff before he even plays this year. Trade him to a team that needs a quarterback, and go big this year in the draft. And that's another possibility. I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm just throwing it out there where you could trade Jared Goff for some more picks this year, or even a player, and boost your team this year in the draft, because we do have, I believe this draft this year is a lot better than the 2022 draft. So it's going to be very interesting to see, and I'm very excited. And let's head right into the Super Bowl. Gabe, you want to start us off?
Yeah. Before we move on, I hope you're right about Jeff Okudah, that he is going to make a huge progression. I'm going to go into a huge progression mode with building muscle and getting better with speed and agility and all the necessary skills that quarterback needs. But it was never worth it for them to even draft him in the first place at number 3, and that's sort of what I was trying to make here. And we see it in other sports websites and pages about how Jeff Okudah wasn't even ready to be in the draft last year. How he was. Yeah. They said that he never should have went to the NFL draft, and I totally agree with them, because look what he's done in the NFL. He sat out some games, I think, just because the coaches thought he wasn't ready for the games. They made up, I think there was a story about how Jeff Okudah faked an injury not to play a game. So that just goes to tell you that they made a horrible pick in Jeff Okudah, and hopefully this year they pick a player that can make an immediate impact onto the team. So that's all I have to say. Well, now let's move into the Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that I think a lot of people didn't expect to see in the Super Bowl, but I think it's ironic because now they're playing in Tampa Bay, the first ever situation where a home team is going to host the Super Bowl. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I don't know if there's any fans that are going to show up.
Oh, there'll be fans.
If I know there will be fans, I just don't know how many, what the capacity is. But Jack, I want to know your thoughts first.
Well, I mean, you mentioned ironic. I don't know if ironic is the best word. Maybe I'd say rigged. I'm just kidding. I'm not one of those NFL fans that believe Tom Brady rigged his way into the Super Bowl. I just like to joke about it. But yes, I'm very excited for the Super Bowl. It's going to be hot topic, but I'm going to call it right now. It's going to be the best Super Bowl that we've had in 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
We got two powerhouse offenses. The last time that the Chiefs and the Bucs played, Tyreek Hill had 204 receiving yards in one quarter, not half, not game, one quarter. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Bucs play him. And spoiler alert, I got the Chiefs in this one. Spoiler alert. I think the key to success for the Chiefs this game will be the Bucs are going to overplay Tyreek Hill. This dude just lit you up for 204 receiving yards in one half and absolutely blew you out of the gate. They're going to overplay Tyreek, which is going to open the field up for Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce is going to have a big first half, and then after that big first half, they're going to slowly have to transition their defense to play both those players, and the Chiefs just have too much depth in their receiving core. Too much speed, too much young players, and McCole Hardman and Sammy Watkins. It's going to be, and McCole Robinson is coming back as well. He's a speedy receiver, not as big as McCole Hardman or Tyreek Hill, but he's coming back as well, and it's going to be very good for Patrick Mahomes as he's going to have an open field for his wide receivers to run like crazy. And I'm not worried about the run game. Chiefs don't utilize it as much, but I just think this is all going to go around Patrick Mahomes, reigning MVP from 2019, and 2018. 2019 was the running back Lamar Jackson. But anyways, sorry, got sidetracked. But
Derrick Henry.
but yeah, so I think it's gonna be a great game. One of the best Super Bowls in a while. On the Bucs side, what they have to do is you need your secondary to play the best defense of their life. You have to have the best defensive game that you ever had, and Tom Brady's going to do what he does every year. He's gonna pull some magic. He's gonna do what he does, and it's gonna be a great game. Gabe, I'll leave it to you.
Well, I mean, the defense has been playing amazing with their performances in the last 2 playoff games, but
you haven't played a super powerhouse team.
Don't get me wrong, your points are very good. I understand how good the Chiefs' offensive players are, especially in the wide receiver unit. But listen, I think they still only won 27-24. It's not like they won by 40 like the Saints beat the Bucs in the regular season. But look what happened to them anyways. But I do have to say, I agree with you that this is going to be the most intense, most nail-biting Super Bowl that we're going to see probably the next 10 years. I think this is going to be one for the ages. It's the GOAT versus possibly the new GOAT with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. But I think what comes down to this game is just preparation for the Super Bowl. It's a different, I'd say, environment to be in, knowing that you're in the Super Bowl. I think we're going to see a lot of offensive plays that are going to be standouts of their own. I think the defense really, despite how both defenses were playing well throughout the playoffs, I don't think this is necessarily going to be about them because you have 2 of the most well-known quarterbacks in the league going head-to-head in the Super Bowl, and I just think that it's going to be very close. I think it's going to be sort of what it was in the regular season. Hopefully, I'm pulling for Tom Brady in the Bucs. I hope he gets his 7th ring. I think he has a good chance to get that 7th ring, and he's going to need his defense again to step up, especially against a team like Kansas City. But for Kansas City as well, a guy like Sammy Watkins is still questionable this weekend. He's been working with trainers throughout the week to see if he's ready or not, but I'm sure they don't really need him, but I mean, they can just add more to the pile.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. I really don't have much to say other than I'm rooting for Tom Brady. I hope he gets his 7th ring, and I think it's going to be very exciting. Yeah,
exciting is an understatement. I think it's gonna be an amazing game. If you haven't postponed any plans this Sunday, if you're not doing anything, then
I know you'll be watching.
You definitely have to watch the game. I'll definitely be sitting in my basement watching the game too. And
with your Patrick Mahomes jersey on?
I don't own a Patrick Mahomes jersey. I'm not one of the Chiefs
fanboys.
Listen, I'm not. Do I want the Chiefs to win? No, I don't want them to win. I'm not going to be rooting for them. I just think they're going to win. I think that they have too much offense, and this Bucs defense, it's great. Don't get me wrong. Devin White, he's a great linebacker. Sean Murphy-Bunting has gotten a pick in every single postseason game this year. We'll see if he can keep this going, his streak that he's on right now against Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be great. Both teams are powerhouse wide receiving cores. For the Bucs, you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Scotty Miller. But for the Chiefs need their defense to be pinpoint. You're going to have Tom Brady do what he does every single game. You're going to have him, dissecting your defense. So it's just, for me, it comes down to Andy Reid, his game plan, like you said, preparation. It's going to come down to the game plan and who's built for the moment and who's going to step up in those big plays, who's going to make the tackle, who's going to swat the ball down when it's up in the air, 50-50 ball. It's all going to come down to those crucial plays, just like every Super Bowl does. And it's going to be great, and I'm super excited for this 2021 Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you want the Chiefs to win, just because Tom Brady has proven so many people wrong over the course of the playoffs. And I'm not saying, like, you don't have to be, I'm not going to judge you about it. I just think people fail to realize what Brady has done in his time in Tampa Bay. I think this year is going to be probably, if he wins the Super Bowl, this could go down as maybe like a top 2, career year for Tom Brady, because what he's been able to accomplish with new teammates and new coaches in Tampa Bay, and then go on to beat a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, not to mention going through guys like Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, I think is remarkable. And I don't think it's not going to ever happen again. And it's going to be exciting. It's going to be more than exciting. I hope Tom Brady plays like Tom Brady Sunday. We're going to see a lot of downfield plays, I think, maybe one-on-one with the Tampa Bay offense. Sort of that's what they've been trying to attack against Green Bay, especially with the closing in the right before halftime. I think we're going to see a lot of that. Hopefully they'll get more calls going their way. I hope it's an evenly...
More?
What?
You want them to get more calls than they did?
I think there was a lot of missed penalties that game, yeah.
They already got enough.
What, to win?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was still a bad game.
It was a bad officiating game, but I don't think the Bucs need more penalties to win.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying hopefully it's a better officiated game. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying, flop in the end zone and call it pass interference. That's not what I'm saying. I don't want them to cheat to win. That's not what I'm saying.
I've already done that once.
Funny. That's with a totally different organization. Yeah, maybe give advice to Derrick Henry to maybe flop some more, get some horse collars in there.
2K yards, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Apparently
gonna.
Lamar had more when it
It's gonna be good. Yeah, I'll tell you this right now: if Tom Brady throws 3 picks, it's not gonna cut it again.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
If he throws, as much as you like the guy and want to be his best friend,
I'd love to be his best friend.
He had some bad passes against the Packers that I just don't think won't cut it.
Like you said, Devin White and the Buccaneers offense got his back.
Maybe we'll see.
Well, it happened 3 times.
Seems like his defense has to kind of clutch up for him to win. It kind of relies on his defense a little bit too much.
Yeah. Of course, you need a bad defense to win the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying that, but yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good game. Get all your snacks ready. Get everything all ready to go because this is going to be a Super Bowl for the ages, like you said. And I'm super excited for this game.
Yep, and I think that about wraps it up with the Super Bowl. I think it's time for predictions. I think we're going to have a difference on the Super Bowl here, so let's get right into that.
Yep.
All right, Jack, let's get into predictions here. We're going to go into college basketball here, Alabama versus Missouri.
I'm going to take Alabama in this one. I think if Alabama can keep playing how they're playing, they've been playing well. If they can keep that hot streak going with players like Javon Quirley, and they got solid big men in depth, then I think they can get this win against number 18 Missouri. It's going to be a great game, but I got Alabama by 10.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Alabama has the pieces here to win the game. Let's go into the number 7th team in the nation versus the number 8th team in the nation, Ohio State versus Iowa.
Yeah, Ohio State 7. I'm going to take them in this one against Iowa. I think Iowa is the most overrated team in college basketball, and yes, you heard that right. The most overrated team in college basketball. I think Luka Garza is a great player, don't get me wrong, but he's all that Iowa has, and I got Ohio State in this one.
Yeah, I hear overrated chants in the silent crowd next to me. I agree with you by the way, with that. Ohio State, I was even surprised about the Illinois game, about them pulling off that late win against Iowa, so I'm going to take Ohio State here too. Then we got the biggest game of them all, probably for the next few months. We got the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, Florida, this Sunday. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs versus Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
You already know, I already said it earlier. Say it again. I got the Chiefs in this one. Excuse me, I just had a blank, but I got the Chiefs in this one. I got Patrick Mahomes coming out, at least 4 touchdown passes, at least. It's going to be a great game. I got the Chiefs in this one. It all comes down to defense.
I think it's going to come down to offense. I think I'm going to pull. I've been sticking with them the entire playoffs. I'm going to take Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do think that this is probably the game where everybody's going to say this is the Chiefs. They're going to win. There's no way. They're overpowered on offense. Buccaneers have no chance. I think it's going to be a much closer game. I think it's going to come down to who has the bigger game in the closing quarter. And I do think with the experience level in the Super Bowl and what he has done throughout playoffs and the regular season this year, I think it's going to be Tom Brady probably winning by maybe 3 to 4 points over Patrick Mahomes. And as the final minutes close in, I think they're going to win off the game-winning drive. And I think Rob Gronkowski, out of all the players on offense, I think he's going to catch the game-winning touchdown. So I'm going to go on a limb here and say that.
Yeah, I'm feeling lucky. Yeah, I'm feeling lucky in that one. Can make an argument, but yeah, it's going to be a great game. I like your prediction, and I like what you have to say. It's good that we have both sides of the prediction scale. So it's going to be really great. Tune in 6:40 on Sunday, and it's going to be a great Super Bowl. I'm Jack signing off. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry for not much Michigan coverage. Michigan basketball is still postponed until February 11th when they return against Illinois, but they are still number 4 in the AP poll. So we'll cover some more Michigan next week. Thank you for tuning in. Go Blue, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, Michigan State as well with college basketball. Nothing much going on for them. We do got March Madness in about a month, so we're going to be doing previews on that, who we think might win the tournament. We got a lot of action, especially in basketball, coming up here with NBA and college basketball. But anyways, with the Super Bowl, I hope it's a great game. It will be a great game, and we'll see everybody next week. Go Blue.